Welcome to my channel. Subscribe, listen, and enjoy my stories every day. I always thought of myself as a passionate amateur photographer. My latest obsession was my new camera, a sleek piece of technology that promised to capture every detail with stunning clarity. I spent hours wandering through the city, snapping pictures of everything from the bustling streets to quiet, hidden corners. But there was one moment, one photograph that would change everything. One lazy Sunday afternoon, I decided to review my latest shots. I poured myself a cup of coffee and settled into the living room, scrolling through the images on my laptop. There were vibrant sunsets, candid moments of strangers, and some whimsical shots of our dog, Max. But as I clicked through the folders, I stumbled upon an image that caught my breath, a picture I didn't remember taking. There, in stark detail, was a man I didn't recognize, completely naked and tied to a bed. My heart raced as I stared at the screen, disbelief washing over me. The man's expression was one of pleasure, but the sight was jarring, shocking in its intimate exposure. I blinked, trying to shake off the disbelief. It felt surreal, like a scene from a twisted film. I leaned closer to the screen, trying to make sense of the situation. My mind raced. Who was he? Why was he in my house? Then, as if a light bulb flickered on, I remembered a few nights prior when my wife, Emily, had come home late from a supposed girls' night out. She'd been evasive, her phone constantly buzzing with messages she hastily tucked away from my view. I had brushed it off as paranoia, little did I know how right I was. I searched the other photos in the folder, and my heart sank further. There were more pictures of the same man, each more intimate than the last. They were taking intimate photos together, and in the background, my camera was clearly visible, perched on the edge of the bed. The reality hit me like a punch to the gut. Emily and this stranger had been using my camera to document their sordid affair. They didn't have the money for a good camera, so they used mine, believing I would remain oblivious. I stood up abruptly, my chair scraping against the floor. The world around me blurred as anger boiled within me. The betrayal felt like a knife slicing through the very fabric of our marriage. How could she do this to me? I felt sick. I needed to confront her, to unravel this web of deceit. But more than that, I needed revenge. I paced the living room, the images flashing in my mind like a horror movie on repeat. How could I make her understand the pain she had caused? As the adrenaline coursed through my veins, an idea began to form. I could expose her, bring her shame to light, the way she had done to me. I could show everyone the truth about Emily, the woman I thought I knew. With renewed determination, I grabbed my phone and began to draft a message to my closest friends. I wanted them to know the truth, to see the photos I had uncovered. Hey guys, you won't believe what I found. I need your help with something. My fingers hesitated over the screen, but I pressed send. The plan was set in motion. I would gather evidence, confront her with it, and tear apart the facade she had created. I felt a strange mix of excitement and dread. I knew this wouldn't just be a confrontation but a battle for my dignity and pride. As I waited for my friends to respond, I couldn't shake the feeling that I was stepping into a dark abyss. But as I glanced back at the image of the naked man tied to the bed, I felt an overwhelming surge of purpose. She would pay for her betrayal, and I would ensure that our lives would never intertwine again. The stage was set for revenge, and I would not back down. The sun was setting as I paced the living room, the weight of the discovery heavy on my shoulders. My phone buzzed, pulling me from my spiraling thoughts. It was Lucas, one of my closest friends. "What's going on, man? You sounded urgent," he texted. I stared at the screen for a moment, considering how much to share. I typed back quickly, "Can you come over? I found something, about Emily." "On my way," he replied almost instantly. While I waited, my mind raced with possibilities of how this confrontation would unfold. Would Emily deny everything? Would she cry and plead for forgiveness? A surge of anger ignited within me at the thought. She had taken my trust and shredded it, leaving me with nothing but a jagged wound. When Lucas arrived, he was all business. "What's up?" he asked, closing the door behind him. His demeanor shifted as he noticed the tension in the air. "You look like you've seen a ghost." I took a deep breath, motioning for him to sit. "I need you to see something," I said, opening my laptop and pulling up the folder of incriminating images. I turned the screen towards him. He leaned in, his brow furrowing as he scrolled through the photos. "What the hell, man? Is that?" His voice trailed off, disbelief etched on his face. "Yeah. That's my wife. And that's her lover," I replied, my voice steady despite the storm of emotions swirling inside me. Lucas sat back, shock evident. "You've got to be kidding me. How long has this been going on?" "I don't know," I admitted, feeling the weight of the betrayal. "But I'm going to confront her. I want to make sure she knows I know." Lucas nodded, his expression shifting to one of support. "What do you need from me?" "I want to set a trap. I need her to confess, to see the evidence right in front of her." "I thought I could use the photos as leverage," I explained, feeling a mixture of resolve and trepidation. "Let's do it," he said, his voice firm. "I'll be right by your side." The plan was simple yet charged with potential chaos. We decided to wait until Emily returned from work. I texted her casually, "Hey, can't wait to see you tonight. I have something I want to show you." "What are you up to?" she replied. I could almost hear the suspicion in her words, but I brushed it off. I needed her to feel safe enough to come home. When the door finally opened, Emily walked in, her usual smile faltering as she noticed the atmosphere in the room. "What's wrong? You both look serious," she said, her gaze darting between Lucas and me. "Sit down, Emily. We need to talk," I said, my voice steady, a stark contrast to the turmoil inside. She hesitated but complied, sinking into the couch. "What is this about?" I took a deep breath, choosing my words carefully. "I found some photos on my camera. Photos of you, and someone else." Her face paled, and for a moment, the silence hung heavy between us. "What are you talking about?" she asked, feigning ignorance, but I could see the cracks forming in her facade. I slid the laptop across the coffee table, opening the folder. "Take a look," I said, my voice low but firm. As she leaned in to see, the color drained from her face. "No, this isn't real," she stammered, shaking her head as her eyes darted across the screen. "It is real, Emily. This is you. This is your lover. And I want to know how long this has been going on," I pressed, my anger simmering just beneath the surface. She turned to me, her expression a mix of panic and desperation. "You don't understand. I can explain." "Explain what?" I interrupted, my voice rising. "That you betrayed me. That you used my camera to document your affair. How long did you think you could keep this from me?" Tears filled her eyes, but there was a hardness in her gaze, a flicker of defiance. "I was going to tell you, I just needed time." "Time?" I echoed, incredulous. "You think that justifies this? I thought I could trust you. You took everything and threw it away." Lucas shifted in his seat, his presence a steady reminder that I wasn't alone in this. "Emily, you need to take responsibility for your actions," he said, his tone measured. "This isn't just about you anymore." She looked at Lucas, and then back to me, a flood of emotions cascading over her. "I never meant to hurt you. It just happened," she said, her voice trembling. "Just happened." I shot back. "You don't get to minimize this. You made choices, and now it's time to face the consequences." I watched as the realization of her betrayal washed over her, and the tears began to fall. But in that moment, something inside me hardened. I was done being the victim, I was ready for my retribution. Your lies have destroyed what we built together, Emily. I'm done with you, I declared, my voice cutting through the air like a knife. I'm filing for divorce, and I won't look back. The gravity of my words settled in the room, and I felt a strange sense of calm wash over me. The intrigue of what would come next lingered in the air. This was only the beginning. The tension in the room thickens like fog rolling in from the ocean, wrapping around us in a suffocating embrace. Emily sits frozen, her hands clasped tightly together, as if that might hold her together. I can see the gears turning in her mind, trying to find a way out of this mess she created. I can't believe this is happening, she whispers, her voice shaking. We can fix this, right? We can go to therapy, talk it out. Therapy? I scoff, disbelief mingling with my anger. You think a therapist can erase the fact that you've been sleeping with another man? That you've been lying to my face? Lucas shifts uncomfortably, glancing at me before turning to Emily. It's not just about you anymore, Emily. There are real consequences for what you've done. She looks at him, her eyes wide, searching for a lifeline. You don't understand. I never meant for it to go this far. It just happened. Happened, I repeat bitterly. That's your excuse. I thought we were building a life together, Emily. How could you betray me like this? Please, she begs, her voice cracking. I can't lose you. I love you. At her words, I feel an overwhelming mix of anger and sorrow. You don't get to say that now. Love isn't just words, it's actions. And your actions have spoken volumes. Just then, my phone buzzes with a message. I glance down to see a text from my lawyer confirming our appointment for tomorrow morning. The reality of my decision washes over me again, the finality of it grounding me. I'm going to see a lawyer tomorrow, Emily, I say, my voice firm. It's time to make this official. She flinches, as if I've physically struck her. You can't be serious. I am serious, I reply, my resolve solidifying. You've shattered my trust, and there's no coming back from this. What about us? She asks, her voice rising in desperation. We've been together for years. You can't just throw that away. I'm not throwing it away, you are. I shout, the frustration boiling over. You had a choice, and you chose him. You chose betrayal. Emily falls silent, tears streaming down her face. I feel a pang of sympathy, but I quickly push it aside. I refuse to let my emotions cloud my judgment. I just don't understand why, she finally murmurs, shaking her head. I thought we were happy. We were, until you decided to throw it all away, I say, my voice lowering. You can't keep playing the victim here. Can't we at least talk about it? She pleads, her eyes searching mine for some semblance of hope. I don't think there's anything left to talk about, I reply, feeling the finality of my words. You've made your bed, now you have to lie in it. The silence stretches between us, thick and suffocating. Finally, I turn to Lucas. Let's get out of here. He nods, and together we head towards the door, but Emily calls after me. Wait. Where will you go? What about the house? I pause, glancing back at her. I'll figure it out. I just need to be away from you right now. I push open the door and step out into the cool evening air, Lucas following close behind. As we walk to my car, I feel a strange sense of relief mingling with the turmoil inside me. What now? Lucas asks, climbing into the passenger seat. I don't know, I reply, gripping the steering wheel tightly. I need to make a plan. I can't let her think she can just walk away from this. You're right, he agrees. But you need to think clearly. Don't let your emotions dictate your actions. I nod, knowing he's right. As we drive through the dimly lit streets, I feel a storm brewing within me, a burning desire for retribution. I can't just walk away. I need to expose her, show everyone what she's done. Do you think she'll try to fight back? I ask, glancing at Lucas. I wouldn't be surprised, he says. But you have the evidence. Use it. Don't let her manipulate you. As we pull into a nearby diner, I park the car and turn to him. You know, I never thought I'd be the one to end a marriage like this. It feels surreal. It's not your fault, Lucas assures me. She made her choices. You're just reacting to them. We step into the diner, the warm glow of the neon lights comforting. As we settle into a booth, I can't shake the feeling of impending doom mixed with determination. I order a coffee, needing the caffeine to fuel my thoughts. Okay, let's figure this out, Lucas says, leaning in. What's your next move? I take a sip of my coffee, the bitter taste grounding me. I want to gather everything I have, texts, photos, everything. I'll show her friends. I want her to feel the weight of her actions. Are you sure that's the best way to handle this? He asks, concern flickering in his eyes. I have to make her understand, I reply, feeling the anger flare up again. She needs to see the damage she's caused, not just to me but to everything we built together. As we sit there, plotting my next move, I feel a dark sense of satisfaction beginning to bloom. I won't just walk away, I will ensure that she knows the pain she's inflicted. I will make her life as shattered as she made mine. And in the back of my mind, the haunting question lingers, what will this path of retribution cost me in the end? But for now, the intrigue of the unfolding drama propels me forward, and I can't turn back. The sun dipped below the horizon, casting a shadow over my life that felt darker than ever. I had spent the last few days gathering evidence, compiling texts, and mapping out a plan that would expose Emily for the betrayal she had inflicted on me. It was time for the final act, the moment when I would confront her once and for all. With Lucas by my side, we crafted a detailed itinerary of how the evening would unfold. I had invited a small group of our mutual friends to a gathering at a bar, a casual setting that would soon turn chaotic. I wanted witnesses, people who would see Emily's deception laid bare. It was a calculated move, and I felt a surge of adrenaline coursing through me. Are you sure about this? Lucas asked, concern etching his features. Absolutely, I replied, my jaw set with determination. She deserves to face the consequences of her actions. As the clock struck 7, I made my way to the bar, my heart racing with anticipation. The atmosphere buzzed with laughter and chatter, but my mind was fixated on the plan I had orchestrated. I arrived early, setting up my laptop in a corner booth, ready to reveal the evidence that would shatter Emily's carefully constructed facade. As the minutes passed, my friends began to trickle in, each greeting me with warm smiles, blissfully unaware of the storm brewing beneath the surface. Then, just before 8, Emily walked in, her presence instantly sucking the air out of the room. She scanned the crowd, her gaze landing on me, confusion flashing across her face. Hey, everyone, she chirped, but her enthusiasm faded as she noticed the tension in the room. Emily, can we talk? I said, standing to confront her. Sure, what's up? She replied, a nervous edge creeping into her voice. I gestured for her to follow me to the booth, where I had set everything up. As we sat down, the bar noise faded into a dull roar in my ears. I pulled up the folder of images, feeling a thrill of anticipation mixed with dread. Before we start, I want you to know that this is about more than just us, I began, my voice steady. It's about everyone you've betrayed in the process. Her eyes widened, but I pressed on, hitting play on the slideshow of incriminating photos. The images flickered across the screen, capturing the intimacy between her and the naked man. Gasps erupted from our friends, and the bar's lively atmosphere was punctured by disbelief. "Is this some kind of joke?" Emily stammered, her face draining of color. "This is reality, Emily," I said coldly. "You thought you could hide this. You thought I wouldn't find out. Everyone here deserves to know the truth." The room fell silent, the weight of my words sinking in. Emily's expression shifted from shock to fury. "You're a monster. You think this will destroy me. You're pathetic." The anger in her voice fueled the fire within me. "Pathetic? You've taken everything I valued and thrown it away. You deserve every bit of this humiliation." One of my friends, Sarah, interjected, her voice shaking. "Emily, how could you do this? We trusted you." As the confrontation escalated, Emily's defiance morphed into desperation. "You don't understand. I was unhappy. I needed something different." "Different?" I echoed, incredulous. "You needed a way to cheat on your husband. That's your justification." As the tension peaked, Lucas stepped in, trying to maintain control. "Emily, this isn't helping. You need to take responsibility." But her eyes flared with anger. "You all think you're better than me. You think this is some kind of game." With that, she stormed out of the booth, making a beeline for the exit. My heart raced as I followed her, adrenaline pumping through my veins. I needed to confront her head-on, to ensure she understood the depth of her betrayal. "Emily, wait!" I shouted, pushing through the crowd. She spun around, her expression a mixture of fury and panic. "You think this is over? You think you can ruin my life?" I took a step closer, my voice low but filled with intensity. "I'm not done with you. You'll regret ever crossing me." As the patrons in the bar began to notice the escalating situation, I felt a rush of power. This was my moment, I wouldn't back down. But Emily's fear quickly transformed into a dangerous resolve. "Do you think I'm scared of you?" she hissed, her eyes narrowing. "You think this will break me? You're wrong." With that, she pulled out her phone and began to record. "Look everyone. This is what my husband is really like. A coward who can't handle the truth." I could feel the rage bubbling inside me. "You think you can turn this around on me? You're the one who betrayed us." Her laugh was sharp, cutting through the tension. "No one will believe you over me. You've lost everything. You're just a sad little man clinging to the past." In that moment, I realized the true extent of her deception. This wasn't just about revenge, it was about survival. I had to dismantle her world, piece by piece. "Let's see how this plays out," I said, a sinister calm washing over me. "You want to play games? Fine. But I'm not the one who will lose." As I turned to walk away, a plan began to form in my mind. I could expose her online, reveal her to everyone she had deceived. I could make sure she faced the fallout of her actions. The fire of retribution burned brightly within me. "Don't think this is over," she called after me, her voice echoing in the distance. I turned back to her, a smirk playing on my lips. "It's just begun, Emily. You'll see." With that, I left the bar, my heart racing, knowing I had crossed a line. But I felt invigorated, I was ready to unleash the full force of my anger and betrayal upon her. In the weeks that followed, I meticulously crafted my plan. I gathered more evidence and reached out to mutual friends, exposing her secrets one by one. The thrill of watching her world unravel fueled my fire. When the dust settled, I found myself standing alone, victorious but hollow. The betrayal had forged a new path for me, a darker one filled with vengeance. Emily and I were forever changed, bound together by hatred and deceit. As I walked away from the wreckage of our lives, I realized that sometimes, the true cost of betrayal is not just the loss of love, but the loss of oneself in the quest for revenge. And as I stepped into my new life, I vowed never to forget the lesson learned: trust is fragile, and betrayal is a weapon that cuts deep.